This is Indonesia, Australia's near neighbour, yet with many parts that feel as remote as anywhere on Earth. This nation of over 17,000 islands, a melting pot of 1,300 distinct ethnic groups and cultures, is where we plan to explore. Transportation methods can be limited in these far-flung places, but we have our Dreamtime. Not only our means of travel, but also our floating home. After an unforgettable trip sailing north along the Queensland coast, visiting so many amazing anchorages on our way to the Torres Strait, it's finally time to weigh anchor. We invite you to sail along with us on our 41-year-old Ketch as we set out on an adventure of a lifetime. Welcome to Season 4, Dreamtime in Indonesia. It is a bit of a grey old morning to be leaving, but there's plenty of blue to the west by the look of things. We're going to duck through between Horn Island and Thursday Island there in front of us, and then round the southern end. And obviously we'll be hoping that we got our tides right. We are just in the channel between Thursday Island and Prince of Wales Island. Very shortly I've got to turn about 20-30 degrees to starboard, and that's going to put the wind on the other side of the boat. We've got it all rigged with the pole to be on a port tack. So we're just going to run with this current we've got. We're motoring along at low revs and currently doing 8.9 knots now. So we're not in a hurry. We'll get through this channel between the islands, then we turn on the course. We'll have the wind at its correct angle and we'll be able to put the headsail out on the starboard side. And we've got to wait and see. We think it's going to be close enough to the wind on the stern for us to put the staysail out the port side and run wing on wing with our two headsails. But until we get out there, we won't really know. But hey, when you're doing 9 knots at not many RPM, there's not a big deal. So far, nice little start to our 6-day passage to Indonesia. This is the round bit. We've done the up, now we're on the around, and that'll be into Indo.
Come and run away with me. Hey, won't you come? And say by chance, don't you want a man who fully understands a sailor's heart, a sailor's heart.
The conditions at the moment are a little bit unstable because we've got 20-25 knots up to 30 at times, and we've got this really choppy sea because it's so shallow in here. But we've got a tidal run and we've also got the swell, so it's just being very confused. But we're coming up on Booby Island, and Booby Island is quite significant in a number of ways to our Dreamtime crew, and one of them is our virtual crew member Rob. Hi there, Rob. He was actually a lighthouse keeper here. We would have loved to have actually had the opportunity and stop here and see his name, Rob Hindmarsh, in the cave. And that cave is a postal office cave for sailors going backwards and forwards across the Gulf of Carpentaria. So Rob, can't stop, mate, but here she is. We've actually sailed a little closer to Booby Island so we can have a good view of it as well. She is.
So I said, hey, don't you wanna come and run away with me? Hey, won't you come? And say by chance, don't you want a man who fully understands a sailor's heart, a sailor's heart. So I said, hey, don't you wanna come and run away with me? Hey, won't you come? And say by chance, don't you want a man who fully understands, fully understands. So I said, hey, don't you wanna come? Come and run away with me. Hey, won't you come? Won't you come? Hey, say by chance, don't you want a man who fully understands? A sailor's heart.
Well, good morning everyone, and yes, it's an early morning. I'm just about to hand over to Russell for the midnight to 3 a.m. watch, and I'm very pleased that we have him on board to do that extra watch, because it means I don't have to get up until 6 a.m. The watch has gone really, really well. We're currently doing about 7. We're surfing down these waves, and they're quite big, some of them. But we've got some good wind too. It's been up in the 20s with some really good gusts, and that's also given us a high speed of 11.2 knots down these waves. So an interesting night. We have a couple of boats around us. We have Sabu, and Sabu has been jibing backwards and forwards behind us for most of Rob's watch and mine. And she's currently just out on our port, stern quarter. And we have Marathon Lady, who's about 1.8 nautical miles behind us. Russell's a solo sailor, so we're hoping he's having a fine night and getting some sleep in between his bits and pieces he has to do, because it's certainly keeping us busy on watch, the three of us. We're heading due west basically, had the heading of 282 since we left Booby Island. We went in close to Booby Island, then we shot out a bit further, and yeah, so now it's been 282, heading west, and we had a beautiful sunset that we sailed into. That's over that top, round the top. So anyway, I'll let Russell get up and do his watch, and I'm going to catch 6 hours sleep. Night.
The sun's coming up behind me over the Arafura Sea. It's a bit after 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, and we've just passed the 24-hour mark. Completed 159.5 nautical miles, so making really good speed. The wind is sitting at around about 12-15 knots at the moment, and this is probably the most settled it's been. We've had 20 knots most of the time, 25, gusts of 30. Yeah, passages are about getting to the destinations. They're not something that we enjoy that much, but it's the what you go through to get there. So all of us are already a bit tired. It's normal. You don't get to your sleep patterns until probably day 3, and by then your body says, if you're not on watch, sleep. Karen's just getting herself organised. She's going to take over from me very shortly, and I'm planning on hitting the bunk. Back of the oven came into contact with a gas line. It's just bent it over a little. There's plenty of movement on it. So I'm just going to try and move it back over and clear of the back of the oven.
It's great weather to be doing this sort of stuff, isn't it?
This is great weather to be doing not a lot.
Well, it is day 2, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and we've done 210 nautical miles. We've got 480, something like that, left to do. So we're not doing too bad. The boat is doing absolutely wonderful. It's the crew on board that never do the best. We're struggling, obviously, the first couple of days to get into your watch hours and get settled, trying to sleep with all the noises of the boat, the waves bashing against the side of the boat, all those sorts of things. It is a little difficult to get used to. And 2 of our crew members haven't ever done this. I asked them this morning when they came up, so what about a circumnavigation? And they said, definitely not. So I guess we're not having them on board for many more passages like this one. But even Rob and I, you know, we have done this before, and it is difficult to get into a passage, you know, just to relax into it after you've had all the go of getting there. And third day is when I normally find that we just all settle into the passage properly, that we just have that rhythm, we eat when we need to eat, we sleep when we need to sleep, our body just tells us sleep, and we're up for our watches. It's not a very sociable time when you're on passage either, but that's what passages are about. Well, good morning all. It's just coming to 6 a.m. and this is our second night out, heading to Indo. It's been a great night actually. We've made some really good progress. So our plan is just the headsail, nothing more. We're just sailing along with the headsail. The wind has changed a little bit more to the south, and so we're heading a little bit more to the north now as well. So we're sort of doing this curve, so that should actually help us cut off some miles instead of going all the way west and then up. We'll see how it goes. We've had a few lots of fishing lines through the night. Big buoys with big long fishing nets in between. We've been able to dodge those that all had AIS on them, so it's all been well. Seem to be the only ones out here. Marathon Lady is back further. I'm not quite sure whether Russell, he's sailing solo, so he might have actually heaved to for the night to give himself a break. Sabu, they've actually got some battery problems. And radioed us earlier in the afternoon to ask if we had spare batteries on board, and we don't, so we can't actually help them. So Peter was going to have to hand steer for the night, so that he wasn't using more power with his auto. Other than that, yeah, we're out here all by ourselves. Oh no, there is a ship out there, a cargo ship. She's 10 nautical miles off our port bow. And she'll be crossing over well and truly ahead of us, obviously. She's doing about 11 knots at the moment. But yeah, that's it to report. Russell's due to come up for his watch. As I said, 6 a.m, it's still really dark out here. But for no moon, we've actually had really good star coverage, obviously, and we've actually been able to see quite well. So, that's us from our night watch. When Russ gets up, I'm going to put on the shell chef for tonight's meal, which seems really strange about talking about tonight's meal when we're actually still in the dark. But yeah, I'll just pop that into the shuttle chef. We've got a lamb curry for tonight, so I'll do that with some couscous, and we'll be all good. But yeah, sailing along really lovely. The more and more we sail this beautiful boat, the more and more we love it. She's good.
Day 3 of our crossing to Indonesia. It's been an interesting first 48 hours.
It has been an interesting 48 hours. The first was quite boisterous and very fast, and for that 48 hours of our sailing, we've done 308.5 nautical miles. That's pretty good going for our Dreamtime at 6.4 nautical miles per hour. Yay! We're going to get there earlier than what we expected, as long as this weather holds. It's died down a little bit this morning, but we're still honking along, so let's hope.
One thing we've had to be on the lookout for is fishing boats and fishing nets. They hang gill nets here that on floats that stretch for literally miles, and a real hazard for a lot of boats. But fortunately, our Dreamtime has a full keel and barn door rudder, encapsulated prop, so there's not much for a net to get hung up on. And that's a good thing too, because we ran straight over the top of one yesterday. So we're hoping we don't see too many more, but keeping watch gets a bit interesting.
Oh, it's interesting. No, we've got a few boats out in front of us now. A little fishing boat. I don't know if it's little, but it doesn't give us sizes or anything like that. But there's one out in front of us, about 12 nautical miles away from us. So over an hour away, which is good. We'll keep an eye on it. And the day's been quite nice.
So how's it been going so far? It was a bit rough the first couple of days.
Yes, the first day was a little bit bumpy. I admit I was feeling quite ill actually at some stages, especially going downstairs, hot and stuffy downstairs, because we were going to have it all closed up.
And what about you, Tanya? Because you were a little bit worried before you came on board. Then we had a good cruise up the coast. How have you been finding it when it's non-stop?
I have been sick once yesterday morning, but it was a bit of a rough night and pretty warm and stuffy down in our room. But I'm feeling good now. Ready to enter Indo and eat some chummy chummy.
I think the crew have done extremely well. We're entering halfway mark now, and you know, for two guys that haven't been on a boat like this, and we're rocking and rolling, and having a small cabin to deal with, I think our crew have done extremely well. Rob and I, even though we call ourselves seasoned sailors, it's still difficult once you've been sitting in an anchorage for so long, and it was a bit like that. Even Rob was a bit woozy doing the navionics and the weather and everything down at the desk for a few days. So, but we're all good. Day 3, we're heading into Indo.
Rough passages, I don't know how anyone can say that they actually enjoy them. It's the price we pay for the places we go to. And as passages go, this one has been a little bit bumpy, but it's been fast. And if we get in there, half a day or even potentially up to a day ahead of what we thought it might have taken us, we will be very, very happy sailors.
Champagne! Champagne! Lots of!
Not until the anchor's down.
Dinner served, naan bread.
Naan bread, beautiful. Back to the side.
And lamb. Thank you very much.
It's the morning of day 4 of our passage across to Indonesia, and I just started to think about how the reality is versus the passage planning that we did. Well, I think it was Winston Churchill said that planning is inconsequential, but it is essential. Sounds a bit counterintuitive, but the reality is you go through all the process that we've talked about regarding making your passage plan, but you have to be willing to adapt it very quickly. And as soon as day 1, we realised that if we were going to stick on the actual course that we'd planned, which was almost due west, we were going to have an extremely uncomfortable ride, because we had some pretty serious chop on top of swell, all very messy, pretty well on the rear quarter and throwing our Dreamtime all over the place. So we had a look, and by bearing off a little further north than we planned, we were able to have the swell and wind basically behind us, and we rocketed along, did 160 nautical miles in the first day. It did carry us a little further north than we'd planned, but we were still within the Australian territorial waters and no problem with the fishing boats. The decision then is, do you go back to plan and head west again, even though parallel with the original route, or do you continue? And as the weather dictated, we decided we would kind of keep edging a little further north-west than we originally planned. It did bring us into contact with a couple of the Indonesian fishing fleets once we were out of the Australian exclusive economic zone, the territorial waters sort of thing. but they were well marked on AIS, they were well spaced out and didn't really give us any trouble, and we had a more comfortable run. But the reality is we are about half a day ahead of our planned schedule. That altering course a little north actually cut the corner, so we reduced the distance, not by much, probably by 10-15 nautical miles. But what it did give us was much more comfort, a lot smoother ride than if we'd stayed beam on, and it was a bit quicker. As I said, on the first day we logged 159.5 nautical miles. I'm happy to call that 160. Day 2, 149 miles. We had passage planned on 135, so that put us that far ahead on those first 2 days. Now day 3 we went pretty well all the way through the daylight hours, but last night the wind really did drop out and we only had about 8 to 12 knots of wind most of the night. We slowed down a lot, but we still managed 132 nautical miles. What that does, it currently leaves us 237 miles to go, and it's 9:45 in the morning. So what we're looking at is, if we do say 120 miles a day from here on in, we're going to be there on Thursday morning. So arrive in daylight with plenty of vision to be able to get into an anchorage we've never been to. And in Indonesia you can't guarantee the charts are as accurate as it is in Australia on the east coast, that's for sure. So what we'll do is, we're looking now, we've slowed down a bit, we're only sailing at 4.5 knots at the moment. But as long as we can maintain that sort of 120 mile an hour, 120 mile a day average from here to our destination, we'll arrive in daylight in the morning. If we've got any worry, we can actually slow things down and enter with the sun directly overhead. So what we've done is adapt our passage planning to suit the reality of the journey. And so far, I'm willing to say that it's working out pretty well.
Down here just organising our dinner for this evening. I've pre-prepared our passage meals, so I par-cook them, froze them and dry back them. It's a bit sticky and a bit rocky down here. So I'm very pleased that I've been able to pre-prepare them before we did it, and I'm not trying to prepare a full curry right from the start. So in one pot we have the lamb curry, in the other pot is the rice. They're just about ready and I'm going to pop them into the shuttle chef, and at 6 o'clock tonight I'll just be able to dish it up. Much easier than trying to cook underway when you've got a rocky stove like this.
Now one thing that has happened on our passage was yesterday afternoon we heard a pan-pan call. Now a pan-pan is a distress call, but a mayday means that life is in danger. Pan-pan is that the vessel is in danger. The vessel has a problem, but there is no immediate threat to life. So we heard a pan-pan call on the VHF radio, just the one. Pan-pan, pan-pan, pan-pan. This is sailing vessel Cebu, Cebu, Cebu. Then silence. We got on the radio and tried to call them up and got no response. We tried numerous times. Then another boat on the rally, Swiss Lady, also jumped on and tried to call them once more with no response. Well, now we're aware that Cebu was, we believed, somewhere around 20 miles behind us. That was from our last sighting of her on our AIS. Then they disappeared from the AIS. Now that's not unusual, it means that we're maybe just gone out of range. But we believe he was having battery problems, so it may be that he'd lost power to his AIS. We're not sure. But all were left in a position, he was behind us to windward, we had no exactly idea where. So what we've done is we've used our Starlink so that we could contact Border Force in the Border Force office at Thursday Island, because they were very aware of all of the rally boats. So we were able to send them a message, and then were able to make phone contact with them. They escalated it up to Australian Search and Rescue. So since then, the entire rally fleet has been notified of the issue via our WhatsApp chat group, and Search and Rescue Australia have been contacting the fleet as well. They are putting an aircraft in the air today and will be searching for that boat at its last known position. As I say, it wasn't a mayday. We are aware that he was having some battery issues with that boat, but he has put out a pan, so it's taken very seriously. There's been no contact with the boat that we're aware of since that time at about 1:15 yesterday afternoon. There was no point in us turning back and trying to locate, because A, we would have been trying to go directly to windward with no real idea where we were looking. He wasn't directly behind us, he was kind of over there somewhere. And we also know that we're kind of at the head of the rally fleet because we left early, and there's all those other boats coming up behind. The position information we provided the Australian Maritime Safety Authority helped the search and rescue aircraft deployed locate Cebu fairly quickly. It transpired they'd suffered a complete battery failure and could not power their navigation system or autopilot or anything. The aircraft crew were able to direct the nearest boat, fellow rally members Daniel and Emma on the sloop Lola B, to rendezvous with Cebu, which then followed them, hand steering all the way to eventually arrive in Debut, exhausted but safe. We have a hitchhiker. These booby birds are really cute, except when they crap, it is of epic proportions. Sorry if you can't see too much, but that's one of the probably few hundred squid boats that we're just avoiding out here at the moment. Incredibly bright lights, we can hear their generator across the water. And we are absolutely surrounded by them. We're just picking our way through. It's a bit after 6 in the morning. The eastern sky is just starting to lighten now. But welcome to Indonesia.
On ocean passages, you are certain to get rolly weather because that's what the ocean does. It rolls on by. And I, for one, don't like to spend a lot of hours in the galley prepping food. So I prep it prior to us leaving, freeze it all down, thaw it out, and pop it in the oven or into our shuttle chef so we have good food all of our passageway. And tonight, is it tonight? I feel like it's tonight. And this morning's breakfast, that's how tired we are now. This morning's breakfast is egg sausage and cheese wraps, hot wrap.
It's 2:20 on Wednesday afternoon, or 14-20 hours, and I've just taken over for the afternoon watch. I'll be on through till 6 o'clock or 1800 hours this evening. We are just 69 nautical miles from Debut, we still don't know how to pronounce it, but our destination on Kai Kecil Island. We've got 20 odd knots of wind and probably about 1.8 metres of swell. We are rolling around a heck of a lot because we went way too fast yesterday and last night. Yesterday wasn't too bad, but last night the boat absolutely romped, and if we kept up with that speed we were going to be arriving right in the middle of the night in A, a foreign country, and B, an anchorage we've never been to, C, on a moonless night, and it's not an anchorage that we expect to be well lit. There will be boats there of all sorts that'll be moored, anchored without any lights on. so it's not the sort of place that we want to go into in the dark. So we have slowed the boat right down. I came on watch this morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, did the sums, and realised that for the previous 6 hours, Karen's watch and then Russell's watch, they had done 48 miles in 6 hours. That's 8 knots, averaged 8 knots with just the headsail out. So we ended up making a decision right there and then, jibed the boat to bring it onto its new course, which meant the headsail's now out on the port side, and we have reefed it heavily, so we've only got a small headsail up there because we needed to slow the boat down. Since then we've been doing about 4.5 knots. I'd like to do 4, but we're doing 4. So in these conditions with strong wind and a fair bit of swell, the boat would be more settled and more comfortable if we had some more power. But if we do that, we're going to arrive in the middle of the night. So it's, well, just suck it up for the next few hours. Well, yeah. What we want to do is, if we can slow the boat down enough to arrive at first light, we'll be happy enough with that. So we're just going to have to see how we go. The island itself's still a fair way away, about 55 miles. And then we've got around 12-14 miles up behind the island, which should be well protected. So if need be, we'll toddle up there at about 2 knots under motor if need be. But overall, the passage has been brilliant. The old touch wood, our Dreamtime has performed absolutely beautifully. She sailed herself most of the way. We just sit up here, the boat's been really nicely balanced, the autopilot's been handling it with no problems at all. We have not had it overpowered once. And we have had 30 knots at times and everything, but with this just using the headsail or twin headsails at times, it's been great. So, yep, this is day 5. It'll be night 5 tonight, and we'll arrive in the morning of day 6 is the plan. I did repeat, is the plan. So hopefully we can make that work.
The last bit of land. Yeah, we haven't seen land since Booby Island, have we? We know land is out there somewhere. Well, our final bit of preparation as we head into Indonesia, and we have one quarantine flag done. It has to go up first to say that we have to go through quarantine. Then we have our Indonesian flag that will go up preceding that. But to show everyone we're here for the rally, we've got our battle flags. And so we have our Sail Indonesia pennant for 2011 to show them we've already been here and we love their country. And then this whopper, this is this year's. Wow. So I think we'll look very festive once we arrive.
Your shadow stretching on the floor while the sun gets low.
Welcome to Indonesia!
Yay! Another one, yes!
We're here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you team.
Thanks for taking us.
Thanks for having us.
We have anchored in Daegu in the Kai Kecil Islands. Just after 2 a.m. We've completed 707.1 miles. Took us 4 days, 18 hours and 45 minutes at an average speed of 6.2 knots. So the winner of the tipping contest between the crew on who had the closest...
Karen!
Karen! Karen picked 6.1 knots.
I did.
I was optimistic and said 6.4. These were pessimists and we're both in the 5s.
I didn't listen to the question.
We didn't believe you.
She flies. This
And-
boat flies.
She does fly. We've
Yeah.
found out just how fast she can be. We ran into a really strong countercurrent over the last sort of, I guess, 6 hours getting in here, and that delayed us a fair bit.
That did. In actual fact, you might have come up
Yeah,
out
otherwise
on top.
I might have got there. But yeah, we had a period where this boat over two watches, a 6-hour period, averaged over 8 knots.
Yes. With
And
head
who
sails
was
only.
that? Karen and Russell, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Hey, Carpentaria.
Yeah, we are. And then Rob came up
And slowed us down.
We've got to slow down, guys. No, we don't.
I did say that. I said, we've got to slow down, otherwise we're going to arrive at night. So let's slow down so we can get there early on Thursday morning.
And we got here real early.
And I ended up with a handkerchief of head sail out, and we were still doing like 5.5 knots. So I gave up, put out some more, and went, we may as well get in and just make it happen. Had a look at all the satellite imagery and said, we can do this in the dark, and we have.
It was a wee bit stressful, but we did it.
We got anchored up, and we're in. So that's the story. We are in Indonesia. You may be able to tell that we are...
Delirious.
Yeah. It's now 4 in the morning.
And we're drinking.
And we are drinking.
See what they're doing to me? I drink now.
Post passage drinks. Haven't had a drink since before we left Horn Island because
So we wanted to check that we could still drink.
Yeah. And it still works.
Yeah.
We were dying of thirst.
We were.
So it's beers,
And gin.
then bunk. Yeah.
And a gin.
Yeah. Well,
If the boys are lucky.
drinks.
It is our wedding anniversary.
And yes, it is our wedding anniversary.
And how many is it, Rob?
38 years ago. Oh, married life started.
The happiest years of
I'm
your
not
life.
sure when it's going to end.
Very shortly.
It could be soon. But no, we've survived the stresses of we planned a 6-day passage and got in just under 5 days, which is remarkable. This 40-year-old sloop got over here.
She's still a baby.
40-year-old Ketch got over here pretending to be a sloop because we never used the mizzen. We never used the main. We used the Genoa only for most of the time, and head sail out quite often doing the wing on wing.
With a staysail.
Yeah, the
He is
staysail.
tired. This will show. And bye from us.
We're here. Bye. We'll show you Indonesia next
Later.
time. As always, we'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports these videos by watching, liking, commenting, and especially our virtual crew members on Patreon and Ko-fi. This Dreamtime Sail channel wouldn't exist without your support. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing so. It's absolutely free and helps us more than you can imagine. If you hit the bell button, you'll also be notified every time we release a new video. See you next time.